So moving on to James. James acquires companies effectively, guys. So he looks for what he calls fax machine companies, meaning companies there's a huge boom coming, and that is baby boomers retiring. And they've built these businesses over their lifetime. Their kids don't want the businesses because they have been the beneficiaries of generally a successful small business that has probably funded them through a good level of education, perhaps a higher level of education the parents had. They're now doctors or pursuing their own dreams and whatever. They don't want to go and run the old man's dusty warehouse-based business. And so we've got, probably certainly billions of dollars worth of value just in this country that is going to be sold or just shut down. And James and his business partner are in that space of looking for companies where they've got a vendor that wants to get out, that has not been brought into the 21st century, and apply a combination of James's skills, which is sales, online marketing, sales, and his business partner skills, which is the back end and the operational side of the business. Together, they make a really great pairing. And they recently bought a healthcare business, I think it'd be a broad description of it, in Brisbane. Basically it was a 17-year-old business that sells high-ticket healthcare products and services to healthcare professionals and also directly to end consumers. So, James, just give us sort of the high-level view of in your own words, why are you doing what you do today? Was that a good description, or how would you comment on it?
100%. And just as a fun fact, that as these boomers start to retire, only 20% of businesses that are listed for sale actually sell. The other 80%, they throw the keys back and walk away. That's of listed businesses, the ones we actually know about. So there's a lot of businesses we don't know about because they never make it to market.
You guys actually have a process of actually contacting unlit businesses.
That's one of the other strengths is, and again, that's probably, depending on
discussion for another day.
Yeah, that's a whole probably half an hour in itself, how to locate said businesses. We only buy off market, never through a broker, and to do that, there's a whole system around that, from curating databases, outreach, negotiation, the whole shebang. So that's a pretty chewy conversation in itself. So, but just from a high level, as you said, it's not a case of Eric and I were talking off camera before about, I'm just going to go and buy a business. I think you need to have a bit more of an educated and certainly an objective. And our objective was to go, buy a business, and I'll talk about the deal criteria in a minute, build a template or a system, a repeatable cookie cutter model, if you will, build a proven track record of results so we can get funding to scale, because we always want to use other people's money, not our own. The whole goal here is to try and do this with little to no money out of pocket. And then once we've got that model sorted out, is form a platform or a holding company, and then go around, once we've got these proven results, whether we're funded or bootstrapped ourselves, is acquire similar business in the same sector. Not the same business. I mean, why have potentially, but more so similar business in the same healthcare sector. That's what they generally call a roll-up. And then effectively what that does is we're arbitraging the multiples. So example, if we're buying companies that might trade do $500,000 EBITDA, they might trade at 3 times multiples if they're under management. But the minute you hit around 2 million EBITDA, that multiple goes anywhere from 7 to 10 north of.
Wow.
Yeah.
So just by having a bigger business,
grouped
together,
grouped income,
diversified.
Yep, your multiples can double or triple.
So for those who are new to this, EBITDA, what is EBITDA?
Essentially, it's a fancy word for profit before interest and tax. Because if someone goes and takes out, buys my company for argument's sake, and I've got it loaded with debt, when they buy it, they might have zero debt. So look at that earning before interest, tax, depreciation, amortization. So that's, if you need to learn more about that, Google's your friend. Just Google it, because it's pretty complex to try and explain without a whiteboard.
Is that from a less risk perspective? Is that why the multiple increases?
Yeah, 100%. And that's what the ultimate buyer, when I look at this sector, is like, what's the exit strategy? Where do I start and where's the end? And where do I get out? Is there a buyer there? And buyers, predominantly private equity, want to de-risk. And so if you've got 4 or 5 of these companies, as I said before, similar businesses, potentially not the same, that if one leg falls off, you've got 4 to stand on. They're de-risking their investment, because their whole goal is to take what you've done and wrap it up into a much larger entity, or IPO.
Because that's one of their concerns, that when they purchase the business, that the sales then drop off because the incumbent are gone.
Exactly. So you've got, like we look for in any business, what's your customer concentration? If you've got a business and it's got one main customer that does 80% of the revenue, well, I'm not interested at all. Like max customer concentration would be 20%. So if you lose that one customer, you've still got 80% of your revenue. And so again, de-risk it, adds a lot more sizzle for their appetite to purchase. So
just keeping that mic in mind. We're just getting used to these mics, so make sure you just twist it around when you're talking to Mark.
And
so that's interesting, James, on that, the private equity guys, it seems to me, in my experience, that it's actually easier to sell to a private equity, and because there's less of these businesses and loads of money out there looking for those businesses that are slightly bigger.
Yeah, because it takes away, what they're looking for is a machine or something that operates under management. They're not looking to get in there and do the grind, which we'll talk about in a moment with such as a turnaround. But they're looking for those businesses they can then apply their wares to it, because private equity don't just bring in the cash. They bring in their hit squad of marketing specialists, ops specialists that's probably out of our league.
And they're looking to IPO it or do something else.
Yeah, or roll it up into one of their other funds potentially, which then adds income to their pooled income, which adds a multiple to their net worth as well. So everyone's just playing the multiple game.
Yeah, or sell it to a listed company.
And it's, when you've got a company that's north of $1 million or $2 million, it's established, it's gone past product market fit if you're in the new age businesses. So they look at them, and that just seems to be where the yardstick is in Australia and the US as well. Starting to creep down a little bit, but look, they're not interested in buying companies that do $500,000 profit.
And is healthcare part of your thinking with healthcare for the same reason Mark was talking about, where money flows, growth goes?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's where money's going, right?
Yeah, 100%. So that's the overall objective, and just to finish off there, the goal here for us isn't to flip it and sell it, but it's to have the option to, should we choose to get tapped on the shoulder at a number that's too good to pass up. So the goal there. So that's the overall objective. But we talk about deal criteria, and you touched on government funding, and that's one of the overlays I think I mentioned in the very first pod about what we're looking for is painkiller, not a vitamin, solves a real world problem. Recession resistant strong was one of the strong things for me. I'm not into cyclical businesses now as I get a bit older, or startups and shiny object stuff. But you've got to be on trend, strong demand, and a large or increasing TAM, which means total addressable market. I want to see the market increasing, not decreasing. That's one of so in other words, there's plenty of blue ocean in front of it, should you be able to outmarket the competitors. So
I think that's important. Alex Hormozy talks about that. And if you're going into business and you're going into a shrinking market, it's like paddling upstream. You've got to paddle like crazy just to stay in the same spot.
Totally. And so and not cyclical, non-seasonal either. So I don't want to be having our getting a business under stress, maybe for a summer product or a winter product or vice versa. We want consistent, steady income year in, year out. All year round, I should say, sorry. So that's sort of the initial lens I put over it. And then when we went, okay, let's get then specific, I want to look at a business that has multiple selling opportunities. So business to business. Hence why we sell up here the healthcare professionals. That's a large part of the business. It's not just B2C. So want that B2B, B2C opportunity. We want a moat, and that comes in the form of exclusivity. But also a moat can be what you bring to the table as far as marketing.
What do you mean exclusivity?
So if we have products that, when I say exclusive rights to sell a specific line of products in Australia, so no one else can sell against us. Mm-hmm. So we're not competing against the same guy selling the same pen in 2 doors down. It becomes a price war, and so we're not interested in having a price war. So there's that, and also a highly fragmented market where you haven't got one predominantly dominant player in the space that you're just not going to be able to penetrate their moat by being the largest player. That's a moat as well. So, and obviously that marketing and sales, what can we bring to the table? What's the arbitrage there? And we talked to Semi about a fax machine operated business when we were looking at these businesses, had a good deep dive into a lot of the competition, how are they running their ads, what were they running them to, and got a really good feel for it. And I think we can certainly win here just by playing the marketing game alone.
So Greg, maybe just while we process this, can you just throw some images up of this business up in Brisbane? We've left it nondescript because we want to maintain, your privacy, because you're still in that turnaround phase and it's going very well. But just throw it up so people can see it and have a look at it.
Yeah.
Maybe just walk us through like what,
Yeah, I mean, there's one last part I left off that for anyone I think is probably the most valuable piece out of that objective and the criteria is we want a motivated seller. I want deals. I don't want to pay full tilt for anything. And I'm going to run through just some quick headline numbers. Eric, I'm sure you'll dig into those as well. So, so we could probably go to that deal. If you
I think it's good because I want people to see the images so they can say, okay, this is a warehouse-based business. I'd like to get a sense of like what was the vibe when you took it over? How were they marketing their products then? And what was the energy like? And what have you done culturally and tactically to turn it around? And how's it going?
Yeah, sure. I think a bit of context around the deal itself. As I said, we want a motivated seller, and so the deal essentially we get 3 years past financials. Sort of gives you like a laser beam into what happened. It's the story. It's the storybook of the company, the business was doing north of $6 million, and it was on a downward spiral. Hence the turnaround to about 1.8 million for an EBITDA of about 250 or 280. But within that, there was we had to re-engineer the financials to work out what was real and what wasn't, and was it actually running at a profit or not, and how long this thing was going to take to blow up if it was going to, and I'll tell you why in a moment. So. So we essentially bought the business. It should have been trading on a multiple of 3 at a 250 profit. You're looking at 750, 800 for the business. Plus, there's about 680 grand's worth of stock at cost. Van, a forklift, unencumbered, about 100 grand's worth of machinery there. All the FF&E, like racking space, office equipment, the whole shebang, and the team. And it was a walk-in, walk-out deal. And we paid 250 grand. So walk-in, walk-out means basically where you've got 2 weeks of our attention and you're on your own. So we had a bet, and that's what I'm going to get to in the moment. This wasn't a normal deal where you do perform, 5 months of due diligence and to work out whether it was going to be a buy or not. We took a bet that we looked at the stock. That was the main lure. We wanted to get into this space. The stock is there, and it depleted over time. So I wanted to close this deal as fast as I possibly could. We were basically buying the stock.
Because the quicker you close, the more stock is in the warehouse.
100%. So I wanted to force this deal. We did it through Christmas, and it was. Don't recommend trying to get lawyers and accountants all working out of the same hymn book over Christmas. But we did. We got there in the end, and that negotiation, that sort of stuff, is a conversation for another time as well, because that was a very interesting shit show.
Why were they selling? Like, what was it that? Like, are they older people? Why was their motivation?
That's that motivated seller. They'd made their money out of the business. They'd got a very healthy lifestyle out of it. Kids all out of it, as you said, went to private school. They've got multiple properties and a whole lot like the best of them. He dropped out of a heart attack in 2019, and they bounced him back to life. And the wife said, enough. He's an ex-church minister, funnily enough, and I don't think I'll ever trust another one. Fuck me, the stories I've got about that guy, mate. Yeah, anyway. So over that period, then COVID hit, and obviously that took an impact as well for them, and they were fire selling all the stock. And that's when I talk about that. Was it really is it a true 250 EBITDA or not? We had to financially re-engineer the books to work out, okay, are we going to make the right bet here? And if we can, and this is where the bet...
What does financially re-engineer, like what are you actually doing? Are you going through the P&L each month and you're looking at line items and then one by one saying, hey, it says this, what actually is that, and getting down to the granular expenses and income of the business? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, and also what they call add back. So if they've pulled out, 15 grand for childcare, which they did. They ran a creche out of the back. Just wrote up 15 grand. Well, that's an add back. In other words, that's income, an expense that wouldn't affect us.
So it's an expense that was going through their books, but going forward would not actually be there. So
that's
therefore,
right.
it would actually normally be profit. And this happens a lot in business.
Totally.
There's expenses like travel and different things that get put through businesses.
So they basically, like any small business, they lived out of it. And they deducted everything they possibly could. So the books looked horrible. So we got an ex-Big Four, I think it's PwC, M&A accountant, due diligence accountant to come in. And we pulled those. It cost us a few bob.
How much is a few bob?
Mate, we...
I really want to know, because people listening to this really want to get their hands around it. It's brand new.
How we structured it was a bit different. We found a guy and only asked him to do minimal work. We didn't do a full financial DD, but if you're going to do a full financial DD on a business that you've got time to do the DD on, you'd be looking at circa, if you're going to do it properly, 20 grand. So you want to make sure that the business is worth buying, and you've done your research on all the other areas that you can do DDOM yourself before you go and engage. So it cost us about $5-6 grand. It might be $7. I can't remember now. But we only wanted to do specific pieces that we couldn't unpick ourselves because we had a fairly good idea of what it looked like regardless. And remembering the biggest lure here was the stock. We weren't actually buying their revenue.
How much stock did they say was there?
There was about 800 grand when we started negotiation.
So 800 grams worth of stock, 100 grand worth of
vans and forklifts.
And you bought this thing for 250.
Yeah, plus it was pulling 250.
Plus it was pulling 250.
I was wondering if I heard that right. I was going to ask you.
So
if
you
I'm just repeating that back. If you're wondering, guys, about how to create alpha in business, alpha returns, this what you're learning right now is gold.
Yeah. So I mean. And that's the thing. We'll talk about property versus business. Why I'm interested in doing this is because, if buy something for 250 grand and in 12 months' time have a multi-million-dollar asset on your hands, and we put 125 plus change for some operating expenses in there, I don't know any property that can do that.
Nothing.
Nothing even close. So, so the bet was, can we outmarket and outsell the current owner? And, again, looking at the competition, looking at their current ads, looking at how they're running the business, I thought that was a pretty sure bet for us. And the hedge was this. If we couldn't outsell them and outmarket them, I had 3 months of runway to do it because I had 800 grand's worth of 680 at settlement plus 100 grand's worth of bands and whatnot. If we couldn't, I'd fire sell the stock at cost online, which I know they were doing because they were fire selling to start with, and we'd pull in 600 or 700 grand, might cost me 150 grand to do it, and we'd walk away with 250 grand profit for the exercise. So it was a hedge there. I wanted to de-risk this deal. And if we did work it out, we'll keep it and get busy, and this is a turnaround. You roll the sleeves up and know that it's an old business running on a fax machine. We're going to do some tech upgrades. We're going to do a shit ton of marketing upgrades. We're going to put sales teams in. We're going to rebuild websites, the whole shebang. This business, every single nut and bolt, if you're metaphorically speaking, was pulled out, either polished and put back or thrown away, and we threw most of it away. So it's a full rebuild. It's like a 17-year-old startup. With exclusivities and a bunch of stock. So that was where
this did have exclusivities on certain products.
Yeah, you bet.
Amazing.
That's incredible.
And that's so hard to find, and it's really hard to do it from a startup. I was really blessed with dry flush toilets to get exclusivity from day one, but generally speaking, for the average punter, the only way to get that is by buying a lot of stock of somebody, because manufacturers don't want to give exclusivity to an unknown quantity. So the fact that you pick that up through the acquisition alone, just the rights are worth money.
And a couple of cheeks, like the old past, he was a cheeky bugger. What he couldn't get exclusive on for some lines of products, he went and registered the trademark of that name in Australia. So anyone who goes to sell it, he goes, stop selling. So we picked up what's a trademark these days? It's about $1,000, I think, to lodge a trademark.
So he was savvy in some ways.
You bet he was. Yeah.
Cagey.
Yeah, I can only imagine the amount of money he ripped out with his handing that plate around at church on a Sunday.
So it goes to show how important then timing is, and finding that motivated seller, right? Like
totally.
It seems like
that's highlighted in ink. It is. I'm not interested in paying full tilt for a deal. It's like you want to pay below or.
And that comes down to motivation, right? So the guy's just had enough. He's gone through a major life change with the heart attack.
Yep.
And once the wife said, "Dude,
you've got 6 grandchildren, and they want Poppy to be around."
Yeah. So get out. What are we doing this for?
Yeah.
So just give us stepping away for a minute from the analytics, just in real world. What was it like when you turned up there on day one?
Yeah.
These 2 new guys come in.
Yeah, and it was one of those deals where they were fairly cagey about us meeting the staff because it was such a deal, right? If they were going to ask full market value, it'd be a proper due diligence process. We'd meet the staff and it'd be announced, and it'd be ongoing.
Did the staff know it was for sale?
None at all.
Because that's what happened with my animation company. I did not want anybody looking there unless the money was pretty much in escrow.
Yeah, mate, it was in escrow, and it was a walk in, walk out. So the day we walked in, they walked out, and it was like, "Hi, welcome, meet the new boss."
Yeah.
And we're like, cool. And this could go south real fast.
Because neither of you live in Brisbane, right? So the business is in Brisbane, your partner's in the sunny coast, and you're on the Gold Coast. So you guys are tag teaming.
You bet.
Going up there every day for the last...
Yeah, I don't go up there much anymore, once every 6 or 8 weeks, I suppose, because what I do is pretty much work from home and all online. And my sales team are all online as well, and remote. But
you've walked in there, the other 2 new guys.
Yep.
What happened?
It was like, "Hi, I'm James. Here's some donuts. We're nice guys. we love you already, but we don't even know you." So they were like, "Oh, okay." We didn't really see this coming, and And that was that. We just got to work and started pulling shit apart. And
Did you fire anybody?
no, that was part of the deal. Is we took all staff and their adjustment for entitlements.
So you didn't pay anybody. You didn't fire anybody. You then went into relationship building mode.
Yep.
And then what sorts of things were you doing? Like in a practical sense, were you changing the marketing, cleaning the warehouse out?
No, I was straight into the ad accounts. Straight in there.
In the ad accounts. What sort of advertising were they doing?
Oh, just running Google ads.
That's it.
And poorly. Like it was, you can tell, like Facebook ad library, you can see what the competitors' ads are doing. You can see what the competitors on Google are doing now as well. So we just went, okay, well, there's a dial we can twist straight away. Adjust pricing, adjust ad spend, adjust targeting, all that sort of good stuff like that. So in the first week, we completely...
So you went into the digital marketing side. You looked at what they were marketing, how much they were marketing it for, overhauled the creative.
Yeah, I just wanted to see the cash register ringing a lot faster, a lot harder, because remember that stock's burning.
And how quickly did you see a turnaround?
Yeah, like for example, month one when we went in there, it was a shocking month. I think it was about 87 grand they did in sales, down from doing 6 mil a year, and spun that around and pretty much doubled that. It was about 160 first month, and then it went from north from there. On it went. Yeah. Until we hit a ceiling, and all these businesses. As you know, with Dry Flush, they're regulated by, and Eric as well, regulated by inventory. How much stock have you got on hand? And until we've had a proven business model, and we had stock to burn, to test our theory, I wasn't interested in loading up on any more stock for a business that we're not 100% clear on. Remember that hedge, if it's not going to work in 3 months, I want out. And it wasn't until after that 3 month period, like, all right, cool.
Was there any other low-hanging fruit aside from the digital marketing where you could create instant profits, like letting go of infrastructure or selling off assets that weren't being used, doing a mini sort of...
There wasn't there wasn't really a great deal of that, or staff letting either. No. So it was straight into marketing, but the business, the turnaround, it came from, when we looked at the margins and the pricing and margin matrix, it was like, all right, this thing is just running just nose above water at its current pricing. So, with eComm, there's only so much price elasticity in that you can flex. We pushed that and went, okay, we're not going to make this work. How do they used to do things in the old days, way back when, before digital was around, and it was with the sales team. And when the minute you put a sales team on, so from losing money to a green light was the whole shit. We need to put some sales, change from an eComm model into a lead gen model, and with a compelling offer. And put a sales team on, and with that you can automatically increase price. So we went selling products that were selling for $2,000 online to $8.5 grand. So
really,
yeah.
Holy smokes.
And no dent in demand at all. So, and that's the power when you've got when you get away from the eComm model. Even if you like Amazon, for example, it's a price war. Yes. I don't care what anyone says. It's a price war, and then you're dead. eComm online, if you're selling similar or same products and you're relying on an eComm model, it's a price war. People just they're buying the dollar, and they go, yeah, sure, it's got a few extra reviews than this one and whatever it'll do. But when you put a sales model together, you can
it's like selling those massage chairs or those beds and things that turn up at trade shows. Like I bought a bed at a caravan show for like $7,000. I got sucked into this thing,
but $800 in Alibaba.
Yeah, exactly. But it's because it was a salesperson and a presentation and a limited time and all the shit that salespeople do.
Exactly. So we went that model, and we put salespeople on at the same price that we're selling online to see whether we could get the phone sales guys and get that model worked out, which I had fairly strong bias towards that we could do that, and we did, and then we started creeping the price up, cut eComm, then went full lead gen.
So when you say full lead gen versus eComm, just for people who are not familiar, you're talking about eComm is you see an ad, you click the ad, it goes to the product page on your website with a price.
Yeah, and
that's your funnel. And you put your credit card in, you don't talk to anyone, you buy it.
Yep.
You're saying now you run an ad that goes. Just talk us through that funnel, the sales model funnel.
In anything with sales, you need to have some background information. And being in the healthcare and medical space, I thought logically, when you go to a doctor, what does the doctor do when you first sit down? They ask you what the symptoms are. So I went, all right, this is cool. So I worked out from the sales guys, what are the symptoms? What are these people suffering from? And put that into a logical 10-step questionnaire online. They go through that, and then with a heavily incentivized offer to complete the assessment. So I could find out what was going on, what these people wanted, And so...
So can you give me an example? So let's say with my toilets.
Yeah.
So an incentivized offer, what do you mean? To complete the survey, if you complete this 10-question survey, you'll get something at the end.
Maybe incentivise, like a free, go in the draw to win a holiday, or that's
Okay,
an example, whatever. Or, or become, you might be an assessment to say, an assessment to see whether dry flush toilet actually suits your situation. Do you have a caravan? Do you have a boat? Do you have and go
a free 6-page report of the top toilets in Australia and which one would be right for you.
Yeah, totally. And then off the back of that, when it comes through that once they've completed that assessment, they would then have the opportunity to book a call with a consultant to then talk about their assessment results, and the whole raft of stuff which you can really, really, really incentivise the back end of it.
So your ad goes, they see a Google ad or a Facebook ad, it goes to a survey,
a landing page
for a survey. Hey, you're interested in this product, complete these 10 steps.
Or you're not sure what is this right for me or not.
Yeah, it could be like if you are selling a hearing aid device, like those audio people in the shopping centres.
Yep.
Fill out this survey, tell us about, do these tests, and at the end we'll tell you which hearing aid's right for you. And of course, amazing, the one they sell is the one that's right for you, but it's the same idea, right?
Think of it like a finance application. When you're online and you've got all these new finance businesses out there, they go through what's your name, what's your age, what's your income, what's your superannuation, have you got any other debt? They do a quick fact find on you to work out whether you actually qualify. And at the end of that survey, when you're going through, it's like, oh, your application's been received for qualification and approval. Please book a call, and one of our guys will approve your loan for you. Think about that model, but incentivise the hell out of it at the front, at the middle, and at the call.
And so what you're getting then is, on the flip side, you've got a salesperson with all this information.
You bet.
About this customer.
Yep.
And it's a very consultative sale.
100%. So they go through about a 10-question questionnaire put together, and there's about 80% of the questions that any salesperson worth their salt would ask on a call to start with. So you've got the information right there.
You've systemised it, so you take out that
including budget. How much money have you got to spend? So up front.
So you can prioritise which are the most important calls to make first.
They're all important. Yeah. They all get it. and that's why. And that's when you can to make sure they're all important is to finish that arc and go, okay, well, great, you've got the lead, you've got a sales guy, but how can you make it affordable for everyone? And that's a whole nother conversation as well.
But you're getting this funnel is actually performing really well, right, in terms of lead gen cost.
Yeah, it's bonkers. Yeah.
Like what's an appointment costing you?
Depending on if it's a lead to an appointment, it's about 1 in 3 to book. So it's $3.50 for a lead, depending on how I'm running the funnel. About $7.50 to $10 for a booked call, which is
my God,
which is
cheap
crazy
on an $8,000 product.
Yeah, they're about to go north as well.
Yeah, and obviously there's a shit ton of margin.
Yeah,
based
well,
on what you told us.
That's the thing is we're working at the financials, where we started, where we are, and where we want to hit. And we're climbing that margin ladder up.
And you've got a distributed sales team, so these people are working at home with a digital calendar, like a Calendly or a TidyCal or whatever, and the appointments are just dropping into their calendar.
Correct.
And they're on a commission.
Yep, and got some pretty sharp people that we're about to go on and as I said before, one of the objectives was to get some results to get funded, and now that's where we're at.
James, what's your cost of sale, like including the sales team, etc.?
Well,
I guess what I'm trying to understand is roughly what price does your item need to be for this model to kind of work?
Yeah, I put the COGS at 40% in commission, so and then I adjust the price accordingly. So that's the target.
Right. So there's no, like for example, if you're selling on Shopify, you need to have a cart value of about $90 in order to break even on a sale. Like, is there a break even point in dollar terms? Like you had a $7 cost per appointment?
That's where they were when we took the business over. They were about break even. So we had a lot of room to move up. But you can't do it with an eComm model because it's price.
So you need those higher ticket items.
But say you had an eComm business that was selling a higher ticket item, like $15,000 worth of products.
You don't. That's the thing. There's not many businesses out there that will sell 15, but from click to credit card, $15,000. So it's difficult. That's where the sales team comes into it, and you can factor in a salesperson's wage. If you factor in the way I did my comp plan for the sales team, it works out about if they sell $200,000 a year a month, they make $200,000 a year. So it's about 10% is the cost to sell it effectively without the cost of goods. So the CAC, if you will. Yeah, I'll run it through you after here. I'll show you what it looks like.
I've got so many questions for you.
Yeah. So, but no, it's working well.
And so you basically focused, changed from an eComm model to a lead gen model, and you've recently got some inventory finance, I think, coming in place as well.
Yeah, and that's the main constraint with these businesses is funding. As said, no money out of pocket. So we had a call yesterday and got the informal green light for half a brick. So
with NAB, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
for those who don't know what inventory finance is, NAB are really good at this, and I've put a few of our clients into the people there in the NAB private, and basically they give you inventory financing. So when you're ordering stock from, let's say, China or wherever your stuff's coming from, they will pay the invoice to the manufacturer, and they give you 6 months to repay it, and you pay back. It's at an annual interest rate of about 10%, give or take. But if you've had it for 6 months, which is what the facility's for, it's 5%. So if you've got 100 grand's worth of inventory, you pay $5,000 plus the 100 grand back in 6 months. So as long as you turn the inventory over in 6 months, it's a fantastic tool.
Oh, at that rate, at 10 points, it's like nothing. It's 50 grand, so $1,000 a week.
Secured against the inventory.
Yeah, there's no surety. It's nuts.
It's a great product.
Yeah, absolutely. So
shout out to NAB.
Yeah. It's sponsored by.
Yeah, I mean, we use them for dry flush as well, and it's been a game changer.
What it does, it takes a lot of the capital that you're formerly ploughing back into inventory. You can start to scale up your operations. So as we come out of through this holiday period, it'll be full guns blazing on recruitment. We've already tried dumping larger orders in there now, and also scaling. Like at the moment, we're only online with when you've got your offer and your model right. We're on online only at the moment on the two of the major platforms, and it's in idle because we don't have the salespeople to be able to handle the volume, which is always a good problem to have. But as soon as we get that free up that capital from what we'd formerly planned back into inventory, we'll go straight to scale and invest every dollar back into it.
Yeah.
And scale means like with an offer that we've put together, it's like Hermosi talks about, it's a universal offer. You know, radio would work well for this, TV, local TV, newspapers, gazettes, and having some B2B team on the ground to go and knock the doors and build the relationships and whatnot. So, and look, there's plenty of other rabbit holes to go down to spin this thing up. So,
isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, we're excited. I think we'll put a pin in it, James, there.
Sure.
And we'll call this part one of, I think, maybe a few parts.
Sure.
Because there's so much. I think, the guys, in the comments, if you're watching this on YouTube, drop some questions in there, and we'll come back to James, because we know James really well, and you can see here, this is just scratching the surface of James's experience, and there's so many questions, but we've got one more segment to get to today. But drop the comments below, let James know what you think of what we've covered so far. But I think this is going to be a real hot subject. Yeah, because absolutely. So many of us out here, we know the process of creating wealth that we've all followed is build a successful business and then reinvest the profits into that successful business first. Forget about crypto, forget about trading currencies, forget about all that bullshit, because there is no better return that James can get right now than if he has 100 grand is putting it into his business, because he can turn 100 grand into 200. You can't do that in property, or you can, but it's not going to change your life as much as a business that'll keep putting money in your pocket every month. So this area of learning business and learning to buy value, create value, and scale value is really, really valuable. And then what we do is we buy real estate, or we improve real estate, and then we manufacture those profits. We manufacture and compound. And it's a beautiful segue actually into what we're going to talk about now with Eric, because Eric has done this extremely well off the back of your success with MX and the boys there. Built a 9-figure business and now has been investing in real estate for some time. And today we're going to unpack one deal before we end the pod. It looks like you got a question for James. Or you probably got 50 questions.
No, I have a lot of questions. I was a little quiet during that segment because I was just trying to wrap my head around.
Pull it close.
Right. Why the hell I didn't get the phone call to invest in this business with you? Because I thought we were friends. And it seemed like a fucking good deal.
Dude, we're raising some more. We'll probably raise around and go when we are mid this year. So.
Hey there, I hope you enjoyed that episode of Unemployable. Here's a fun but sad fact for us. Most people who love our content are still not subscribed to the channel. Now, I totally get it. Normally, when you subscribe to something, it involves giving up your email address, and then you get bombarded with emails, people trying to sell you stuff and all of that. But in the world of YouTube, that doesn't happen. We don't get your email address and we don't bombard you. All it means is when you log into YouTube, you'll see our channel there and you can easily click on it and check out our latest content. Now, here's the deal that I will make with you. If you can find it in your heart to click on the little subscribe button below, I promise you that we will get better and better guests on this show so that we can interview them for you to give you better and deeper insights from people that have really done some crazy good stuff. And I promise you that we'll be working harder than ever to make this show even better for you. So that's the deal. If you click on that little subscribe button, hit the notifications bell as well, we would be deeply grateful and we'll make a better show for you going forward. If you'd like to watch another episode, just click there.